The 7 luxury cars blocking my driveway at 5:30 a.m. on a Tuesday should have tipped me off, but I was too busy dragging in the morning's catch from my old fishing boat to worry about what was waiting behind me. Call it optimism, or maybe just the stubborn hope that today would be different. I was soaked in fog and salt spray, wrestling that heavy net of Pacific rockfish up onto the dock, thinking about breakfast and the quiet, when I heard it. The click of expensive heels, sharp on the wet wood, then a voice so harsh it could peel paint right off the siding. "You there? Drop that mess and turn around. We need to discuss your immediate eviction." Yeah, that's how my day started. I remember letting the net fall to the planks, fish flopping, their silver sides catching the gray morning light as I turned to find what looked like a hostile takeover in progress. 7 people in suits and pearls, standing on my private dock, faces twisted up with a kind of disgust you usually only see reserved for folks who still do their own work. In front, her hair platinum, her white suit immaculate, portfolio clenched like a weapon, stood the one I'd come to know all too well, Patricia Whitmore. She looked me up and down like I was something she'd scrape off her shoe, and I wiped my hands on my jeans, asking as polite as I could manage, "Can I help you?" Behind her, the sun was just starting to climb over the cliffs, painting the $12 million mansion behind me in gold and amber. My mansion, bought fair and square, though these people seemed ready to die before admitting it. Patricia's laugh rang out, brittle as broken glass. "You can help by packing up your boat and leaving immediately. This is a historic property. We're here to correct a terrible misunderstanding." I stared at them, trying not to laugh myself. What misunderstanding is that? Her eyes cut across my boots, my battered shirt. The misunderstanding where someone like you thinks they can just squat in one of Pelican Heights' most treasured homes. This place belongs to the community, not some vagrant with a fishing boat. She spat the word like it might infect her. One of the women behind her was already recording on her phone. Fine by me, I wanted it all on the record. "Not squatting," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I own it. Bought it 3 weeks ago. Moved in this weekend." That broke them. The laughter was unanimous, cruel, echoing across the dock. Patricia had to grab the arm of a man beside her just to stay upright. "Own it. You expect us to believe you, with your rusty boat, bought the Cornelius estate." The Leviathan's dream might not look like much, I'll give her that. 30 years of salt and hard use have left her scarred, but she's sturdy, she's mine, and I trust her more than I'll ever trust a boardroom full of people in tailored suits. "Believe what you want," I said, turning back to the fish. "But unless you've got some legal authority to be on my dock, I'm going to ask you to leave." That hit a nerve. Patricia's voice came back sharper, and she whipped out a folder, official looking. "We have plenty of authority. This is a community heritage designation, signed by Harold Cornelius himself, donating this property to the Pelican Heights Trust upon his death, which, as you must know, happened 6 months ago." I looked at the document, then at Patricia. "Harold never signed anything like that." She sneered. "Oh, and you would know?" Condescending as ever. "Yeah, I knew him. Worked with him. He told me what he wanted." For a split second, she faltered. But not for long. "He told me, personally, this property belonged to the community. That Pelican Heights deserved it as a crown jewel, a venue, a symbol of our way of life." "And what's that exactly?" I couldn't help myself. "Excellence. Tradition. A quality of life that ensures only the right kind of people live here." "The right kind of people, huh?" I looked at my boat, my hands, the creases in my face. "And I'm the wrong kind." "Obviously," she said, gesturing to my whole existence. "Maybe you worked for Harold. Thought you could just move in after he passed. But I've already called the police." "You called the cops on me for living in my own house." Of course, Harold would never have allowed this eyesore. And that's when I felt it. This cold, sick feeling, because I'd been here before. Misjudged on sight. The old story, wrong car, wrong clothes, wrong last name. You know what I mean? If you've ever been on the receiving end of that kind of snap judgment, you'll get it. Maybe drop a comment. Tell me where you're from. The worst time someone assumed you didn't belong. Just as stories keep people going, trust me. So, I reached into my boat's waterproof compartment and pulled out the documents. Ownership, deed, the works. Handed them over without a word. Watched Patricia's face shift. Confusion, then disbelief, then fury. "These are forged," she barked. "There's no way someone like you, Someone who doesn't belong could afford this. I cut her off. What exactly do you mean by someone like me? She glanced at me, then away. You're Asian, for one thing. Japanese and Irish. Born in Seattle, if you care. She waved her hand. Whatever you are, you're not Pelican Heights material. Before I could reply, 2 cops arrived. One a black woman with sergeant stripes, who looked like she'd seen it all and wasn't impressed. Got a call about trespassing, she said. Patricia rushed up. Thank God. He's illegally occupying the Cornelius estate. I handed over my paperwork. The sergeant glanced through it, nodding slowly. These look legit. Mr. Nakamura, you purchased the property? Yes. Cash sale, closed 3 weeks ago. All the papers are inside. Patricia was practically vibrating. This is impossible. Harold promised. He promised the community. The sergeant's reply was cool. Unless you have written documentation, a promise doesn't mean much. Mr. Nakamura has proper papers. You and your group need to leave. The younger officer spoke up. Would you like to press charges, Mr. Nakamura? I shook my head, looking at Patricia. They're leaving. That's enough. Patricia's parting words stuck with me. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I've been president of this HOA for 15 years. Enjoy the house while you can. After they left, Sergeant Williams lingered. Word of advice. Patricia's got money, power, and a mean streak. Watch your back. I've dealt with bullies before, I told her. She eyed me. Military, right? I nodded. Naval intelligence. Old habits die hard. She handed me her card. Call if you need help. Patricia's slippery, but maybe not slippery enough. Standing on that dock, watching the sun rise over $1 million view, I saw what Patricia wanted so badly. Not just the house, but the power. Pelican Heights looked peaceful, but there were stories in those houses. The ones that sat empty, the ones cleared for new builds, the ones with owners squeezed out by fines and harassment. I'd barely unpacked, but I was already in deeper than I'd planned. That's when the second act began. A fleet of Marina Authority boats showed up, led by a man in a too-clean uniform calling himself Marshal Cross. He tried to cite me for everything under the sun: illegal mooring, commercial fishing, unsafe conditions, $6,000 a day in fines. But his badge was a joke, his credentials fake, and his face matched a guy from Patricia's family photos. I caught it all on video, called him out on the spot, and watched him turn white as a sheet before fleeing with his crew, leaving a drone hovering over my dock, Patricia's eyes in the sky. Inside, I found the safe Harold had told me about, a code only we knew, from the day we'd found the Santa Isabella. The safe held documents that chilled me to the bone, evidence of sabotage on Harold's boat, payments from Patricia to a man named Devin Richards, and a contract with a developer to turn the Cliffside homes into a resort. It was dated 2 weeks before Harold's accident. Just then, Patricia returned, not alone, but with half the neighborhood, megaphone in hand. Nathaniel Nakamura, face your community. The crowd split, some hostile, some ashamed. Patricia painted me as a threat, a blight on their perfect world, but when I started listing her victims, the Johnsons, the Guans, the Chins, stories began spilling out. Whispered accounts of ruined families, fines for nothing, forced sales, all under Patricia's regime. That's when Rosa Martinez stepped forward, a retired FBI agent, and one of the few who'd ever stood up to Patricia and lived to tell about it. Let's see those documents, Mr. Nakamura, she said, calm and unflappable. Patricia snapped. Those are private. Rosa just smiled. Not under California law, they're not. Suddenly, the crowd wasn't so sure about their leader. Patricia realized she was losing control and stormed off, threatening revenge. Afterward, Rosa pulled me aside. You know about Richards? She asked, eyes sharp. I know Patricia paid him off before Harold died. I know he's tied to other suspicious deaths. And I know they're meeting tomorrow night, offshore, where they think they're safe. She nodded, pulling out her phone. I still have friends at the bureau. I'll help. But Richards is dangerous. I prepped the Leviathan's dream for what came next. If you think a rusty old fishing boat can't carry a world-class surveillance suite, you've never worked maritime salvage. We followed Patricia and Richards out into the fog, using military-grade sonar and long-range audio mics to catch every word of their conversation. I'll never forget hearing Patricia say, "Then we handle him like we handled Harold." And Richards, cool as you like, ordering men to my house for arson. We had them. conspiracy to commit murder, racketeering, the whole lot. The return to shore was a blur, pushing the engines to their limit, watching the security feeds as men broke into my home with gasoline cans. Rosa and I got there just in time, backed up by a team of former Navy SEALs I'd once helped out of a jam. We took down the arsonists, called in the police, and by sunrise, the conspiracy was unraveling. Patricia and Richards were arrested, caught on video, audio, everything. Turned out, Richards had run a murder-for-hire real estate racket for years, with Patricia as his insider. 7 people dead, dozens ruined. But not this time. Pelican Heights changed fast. Rosa was made interim president, voided every bogus fine, invited families back, and opened the books for good. My past came out, naval intelligence, salvage specialist, just a guy who fishes and fixes what's broken. I stayed. The house is mine now, the Leviathan's dream polished and proud. 6 months later, Patricia got 25 years, Richards got life, and Pelican Heights became the kind of place Harold always dreamed it could be. Community gardens. Open beaches. A real community, built on inclusion, not fear. Sometimes I see Marshall Cross, doing real community service now, trying to make up for his part in the mess. Redemption's hard, but it happens. Harold's great niece comes by, learning to read the ocean's secrets. The world keeps spinning. Victory, I've learned, doesn't look like headlines or handcuffs. It's quiet. It's neighbors helping neighbors, a sunset on a dock, a community learning to trust again. It's knowing that for every Patricia out there, there's a Harold, a Rosa, a stubborn fisherman willing to push back. If you've ever been bullied by power, or felt like you didn't belong, or watched someone try to steal what's rightfully yours, drop your story below. Tell me, what's the wildest thing your HOA or neighbors ever tried? Where do you draw the line between order and oppression, between community and control? I want to know. Justice, after all, isn't just a word. It's something we build together, tide by tide, truth by truth, until the bullies are gone and the honest folks come home. So yeah, maybe I don't look like Pelican Heights material. But maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what this place needed.